What's up, everybody? Mike here. In this Elden Ring build guide video, I'll be showcasing my Kung Fu Katarist build. Basically, utilizing the Katar weapons. This is a fist build of sorts. You get these weapons very early on as well too. And one thing that helps us stand out in terms of building the weapons itself is the piercing damage it does. Something else that's unique about this weapon is the Impaling Thrust Ash of War skill, which it automatically comes with, and you cannot put this particular skill on any other weapon. So if you want a fist weapon with Impaling Thrust, you have to use the Katar weapon, and you have to use the standard scaling for this weapon, otherwise you cannot use Impaling Thrust. Something really cool about this weapon I really like to do and enjoy about it, honestly, with Impaling Thrust is, you sometimes have these enemies that have shields, whether regular enemies or bosses. It can sometimes be difficult to, get damage done to right away. Well, the benefit of Impaling Thrust is, it's essentially like moves you forward and allows you to still do good damage against shielded enemies. So you essentially can go right through their shields, it pierces right through them, does great damage to them. And a lot of this build focus is going to be like a lot of aggressiveness, and you're going to be taking like a lot of hits here, so it's going to be back and forth hits. You're going to be taking move tat for tat in a sense, or hits tat for tat with the enemies that you're going up against. So in comparison, other weapons you might use in situations like this where you don't shield enemy or a lot of difficult enemies, in a sense where you're essentially getting interrupted when you're trying to get an attack because of the enemy's attack or animations. Impaling Thrust essentially will just move you forward to get right through their essentially interruptions they normally would do to you, so you can still do damage. I really love how this, weapon in particular has a way around that. And out of all the fist weapons, it has the highest critical rating being at 110, which allows you to do more critical damage, especially if you stagger enemies and then essentially do like that visceral attack to do more damage. It's very useful. The other item here in terms of weapons we use here is the Tree Seal. That's going to be for the incantations used in this build, such as like Golden Vow, Electrify Armament, and more. Now, you also want to be able to get this early on, so an alternative you'll probably have to use early on, I believe, is going to be the Finger Seal. But eventually, when you do get this, you'll want to grab this and upgrade it, scale it up to its full potential, so that way you get the most out of your incantations used in this build. When it comes to the armor used in this build, it's not super important. I just decided to go to Cuckoo Knight Helm, the Ruins Armor, Scaled Gauntlets, Scaled Greaves, to help me out, give me some good defenses there for what I'm working with. The main thing is, though, you want to at least have your poise at 51 so you can at least take a regular hit. This is important so you can keep, continue your attacks with these fists, so you can just do more damage to enemies and bosses overall. So when it comes to the talismans I use for this build to help you dish out the pain to the enemies and bosses, as well as give you little defensive options here with damage mitigation, I have the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman on here, mostly boost physical damage mitigation. Then I have the Rotten Winged Sword Insignia, great raises attack power with successive attacks. And Spear Talisman is the third one I got on here. Enhances counterattacks unique to thrusting weapons. Well, we are technically using a thrusting weapon with the Katar here. The Impaling Thrust weapon skill, Ash Award, is very good in combination with this. And then Millicent's Prosthesis as the fourth one, boosts dexterity, raises attack power with successful attacks. So that's a nice combo to have with Rotten Winged Sword Insignia. Both of these are going to help with your success attacks to do more. You're going to be, very aggressive with this build. It's a very aggressive playstyle. You're going to be in and out, trading blows a lot with enemies and bosses. Will make sure you're getting your hits off in fast succession, very much so that way you are eliminating enemies faster. So for incantations, I mentioned before here, Electrify Armament using this build, and this is going to add lightning damage to your Katar weapon. This is pretty much really essential for the most part. You're not going to be trying to have this be like a all-time buff, but you will be buffing your weapon a lot of time while playing this build and going through the game, and it's going to have that nice extra lightning damage, so you can dish out even more hurt to enemies. In combination, you want to use Golden Vow, increase attack and defense for yourself, so that's going to be really nice to utilize with this. These are temporary buffs, obviously, so you have to recast them when you need to, but Golden Vow is going to really help out, to keep you alive even longer with adding that defense to it. In certain situations where lightning damage is not good against enemies and got enemies resistant to it, I decided to put in Blood Flame Blade. So it's going to enhance your weapon with Blood Flame, and that's going to really be good because you're doing a combination of blood loss and fire damage to them. This works really well with Flame Grant Me Strength. So essentially, you're going to use these two together in certain situations where lightning damage is not going to be good to do. And then lastly, Order's Blade, which is going to probably be the least amount you'll use, but it adds holy damage to your weapon. This is for undead enemies specifically and undead bosses. So this will be really good against them. Otherwise, you're not going to be utilizing this much overall throughout your playthrough with playing this build. So, but still nice to have to kind of keep in your back pocket, essentially, for those situations. So as I've tried to, express to you guys, in terms like the general gameplay of this build, you're essentially going to go in, like, try to run up against enemies, like regular enemies, especially like the regular ones with shields. Run up, do like a run and attack. For the ones that have got shields, use your impaling thrust ability against them to do damage or even stagger them and get a like versatile attack in, basically. For the more annoying enemies, I would say, or more difficult enemies, sometimes add that lightning damage in when you need to, and essentially go ham with that. You'll be trading blows, as I said before, a lot of times, so doing counterattacks is very crucial to this. Also, make sure you're dodging appropriately when you need to. And just kind of like get in there and get your hits in, get fast hits in very quickly, so that way you are eliminating enemies fast. I didn't decide to put any like AoE type spells in here. You can if you want to, but I felt the current incantations I have in here are fairly good. I know there's some situations where there's a lot of enemies surrounding you. If you want to put a spell or incantation that allows you to do an AoE, go ahead, up to you. And as long as you're being aggressive enough, whether it's a boss has a shield, where it's a boss that doesn't, and you're dodging appropriately, you will tear away their HP, whittle them down fairly quickly often too, and just decimate them. My last thoughts on this build is, honestly, like, I like the aggressive playstyle of this personally. I like the close range of this, being up in your enemies' faces and boss faces to just freaking wreck them, kind of get, go in, go out, sort of like hit and run tactics a bit here, trading blows a lot. I enjoy that playstyle for the most part. I like these like close range, like in your faces melee builds, essentially. Not too much of a big fan of range combat, as probably a lot of y'all know by watching these build videos I do or just checking my streams, stuff like that. But yeah, overall very solid, I would say. You can even take this into the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, I would think, and do fairly well. Still don't know how things are going to work out in terms of balancing with the DLC yet, but this is going to be a lot of fun, especially if you're trying to look for and play a sort of kung fu style in this game, because you can do that. You don't just have to stick to samurai, and shinobi playstyle. You can do this as well. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and if you did, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please sound off in the comments what you think about this build. Have you tried yourself already, or at least a variation of it? And stay tuned for more build videos I got for you leading up to Shadow of the Erdtree. My name's Mike. Thanks for watching.